Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Mana Fix. My name is Preston, and today I wanted to go over what I think are going to be the best cards in Commander Legends. So let's get right into it here. I am going to go by color, and I'll start with the color white. So the first card is Keeper of the Accord. So this is a 4 mana, 3/4 human soldier. It says at the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more creatures than you, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. And then at the beginning of each opponent's end step, if that player controls more lands than you may search your library for a basic plains card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. Nice. So I don't think it's. Obviously, this is trying to get or give ramp to white. So it's a start. I don't think it's quite what we wanted, but it's definitely something that's going to see play, especially in mono white builds and Boros builds, decks that don't really have colors that are able to ramp all that well. Now, the first ability there with the tokens, generally white is really good at creating tokens, so I don't think this is really why you're playing the card. I really think it's for that second ability of being able to get basic plains cards into play. And with that being said, you do need to be behind at least one opponent for this to be doing anything. Now, if you're behind multiple opponents, it's going to catch you up a lot faster. But again, we're only playing catch up with this card. We're not getting ahead by any means. So, yeah, I don't think it's as good as we wanted to see from white, but it's certainly going to see play because white doesn't have very much ramp, obviously. So the next card is Seraphic Greatsword. So this is a 2 mana, 1 white, 1 other for an equipment card. It says equipped creature gets +2/+2, and then whenever that creature attacks the player with the most life or tied for the most life, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking that player. So that's pretty cool. Now you have to be attacking the person with the most life, but to get a 4/4 for kind of for free, and it's hasty, I mean it's attacking right away, that's going to put in a lot of damage. Now it is 4 to equip, which isn't necessarily that cheap, but this is certainly something. It's something. Let's just put it at that. So the next card is Archon of Coronation. This is a 6 mana creature Archon. Is that a new creature type? I don't know. Maybe not. But it's a 5/5 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. So we're going to notice there's a number of cards in this set, including a cycle that when those cards enter the battlefield, they are going to make you the monarch. So this is one of those cards, and then it also says, as long as you're the monarch, damage doesn't cause you to lose life. So similar to, what is that artifact card? Empyrean? Basically, it says your life total can't change. This is similar to that. Not exactly the same thing. The wording is a little bit different, so I'm not sure. It must do. There must be a reason for that, but it seems pretty good. Again, this is card draw in white. It's only going to be 1 card per turn if you're holding on to the monarchy. So, and then at 6 mana, like, could be better, but it's something. And it provides a 5/5 flyer to hold on to the monarchy. So, I mean, a 5/5 flyer is a good blocker, so that's hopefully going to ward off any attacks to try and steal that monarchy. So yeah, I mean this seems pretty good. I like the fact that it has that second ability. If it didn't, obviously it wouldn't be playable. Akroma's Will is the next card here. This is a 4 mana instant, and this is, you'll notice again, this is a cycle that cares about whether or not your commander's on the battlefield. So this one says, choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. The first ability says, creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike until end of turn. So adds a little bit of evasion, gives double strike. So you're dealing a lot of extra damage if you have multiple creatures on the battlefield. The second ability says creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors until end of turn. So this is kind of like a protect myself type ability. And then if you get both, if you have your commander out when you cast this, this is gonna do some work. Yeah, so add flying, a form of evasion, and double strike, and lifelink, and indestructible. Basically, you're making sure that none of your creatures will die. You're dealing double the damage that you otherwise would. Flying is going to make sure you get more damage in than you otherwise would, and lifelink is going to gain you a bunch of life. So, yeah, if you have a creature heavy deck, this is probably going to be a pretty good card for you. Yeah, I like that one a lot. All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about the blue cards here. So the first one is Sphinx of the Second Sun. So this is an 8-mana Sphinx. That's a 6/6 with flying. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you get an additional beginning phase after this phase. So the beginning phase consists of untapping your permanents. You get an upkeep, and then you get a draw step. And that happens at the beginning of your post-combat main phase. No, I'm sorry. At the beginning of the post-combat main phase is when it triggers, but it actually happens after the post-combat main phase. So it's kind of a little weird. It happens after your post-combat main phase, but before your end step, if I'm thinking about that correctly. So it's kind of like a wilderness reclamation in a sense, because that enchantment allows you to untap, I think it's just your lands for that one, but this one allows you to untap everything. So not quite a Seedborn Muse, because it doesn't happen at every upkeep. It just happens basically at the end of your turn. But good for decks that have, that want to cast instants, or, cards at instant speed. 8 mana, though, seems a little bit too much for this. If it were 6, like, oh, yeah, this is seeing play. But 8 mana, that seems like a stretch. Still, I think it's a really cool concept, and I want to run this card. This card speaks to me in a way, but I'm just not sure it's quite good enough for 8 mana. But we'll see. Next is Elegith Crossroads Augur. So this is a 6 mana Sphinx. It's a legendary creature, so this can be your commander. 5/6 with flying. If you would scry a number of cards, draw that many cards instead. That's it. And then it has partner. So this seems really good. I'm not going to lie. So basically, like for like an opt will draw you 2 cards with this out. Preordain will draw you 3 cards. Yeah, so Preordain turns into Ancestral Recall. That seems pretty good. Yeah, so I really like this, and it has partner. So I'm trying to think of the pairings that this could. It just seems like it's gonna be really, really cool. I like this a lot. Definitely, I'm probably gonna build around this one. This one seems like a card that I want to play for sure. All right, so next is Court of Cunning. And this is one from the Monarchy cycle. So when it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, any number of target players each mill 2 cards. But if you're the Monarch, each of those players mill 10 cards instead. So if you're running Bruvac, this is probably like an auto-include. But I think that's really the only like legitimate mill commander out there. Some people are probably going to hate me for saying that, but mill just doesn't really seem like a very viable strategy, unless it's Bruvac, because Bruvac doubles the number of mill cards or the number of cards that your opponents mill. So yeah, this is card draw, but it's also big time mill if you can hold on to the Monarchy. So yeah, seems pretty good. Next is Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. So this is a 4 mana legendary creature, and this is a mythic, so it's a 3/1. You may have Sakashima of 1,000 Faces enter the battlefield as a copy of another creature you control, except it has Sakashima of 1,000 Faces' other abilities. And those other abilities are The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. All right. And then it also has partner. This one I really, really like as well. God, there are just going to be so many crazy partner combinations coming out of this set, and we'll go through the rest of the cards, you'll see. But, yeah, being able to copy a creature that you already control, and to have that ability in the command zone, it just seems like something that you can build around, and, you know, really well. And it just, there's so many synergies that can happen with that. Not to mention partner, so you can have another commander with it too. There's plenty of combinations that you could do with that. That would just be absolutely disgusting, depending on what route you want to go. You know, tokens, card draw, whatever. So, I think this is gonna see. Well, I feel like it would see a lot of play just because I really, really want to build around it, and I'm probably going to. But yeah, awesome card. Awesome card. All right, so next is Hull Breacher. So this is a 3-mana Merfolk Pirate. It's a 3/2. It has Flash. That's notable. If an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead you create a treasure token. So the way I think of this is basically a Notion Thief. So Notion Thief stops extra card draw. But instead of drawing you the cards, it gives you treasure tokens. So it gives you mana instead of card draw for 1 mana less. I think this is pretty powerful. I think it's going to see play. I think, honestly, the difference between 3 and 4 mana is pretty big. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it is, I think. And, you know, in some cases, getting treasure tokens might be better than drawing cards. So, yeah, this is either played in addition to or in place of Notion Thief, for sure. This is going to see a lot of play. All right, so next up is black. So for black, the first card we have is Tevesh Sat, Doom of Fools. That's the Tevesh Sat. Okay. So this is a planeswalker that can be your commander. It's a 5 mana, starts at 4 loyalty. +2, create 2/0/1 black thrall creature tokens. All right. +1, you may sacrifice another creature or planeswalker. If you do, draw 2 cards. Then draw another card if the sacrifice permanent was a commander. Please excuse my cat. She decided to chime in there. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that you really want to be sacrificing your commanders all that much. That might seem like a kind of a last resort thing, I guess. But sacrificing a creature, +1, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards on a planeswalker. That seems pretty good already. Plus, it feeds itself with those 0/1s with the +2 ability. So I think this is pretty good. Plus, it has partner, so we'll get to that later. But -10, gain control of all commanders. Put all commanders from the command zone onto the battlefield under your control. Okay, so you literally just steal everybody's commander. So that's probably a game-ending ultimate. I mean, I can't really see anybody coming back from that. I mean, sure, it could happen, but probably, I mean, the odds are not likely that they're going to come back from that. And then, yeah, it has partner. So, God, it's just so powerful. You could just put this with, I don't know, Tana the Bloodsower or something. So you're creating a bunch of tokens and then you just sacrifice them and draw 2 cards. This is gross, man. This is gross. And I love it. All right, so let's keep going here. Oh, next is, yeah. Opposition Agent. So this is a really good card. It's really, really good. So 3 mana, human rogue, 3/2, has Flash. And it says, you control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. And then it says, While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find, and you may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. So, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're mono black and they're running blue. Guess what? You tried to search your library for an instant or sorcery. No. I'm gonna search for that instead, and I am going to be able to cast that card. Actually, I'm gonna be able to pick the card, and then I'm gonna be able to cast it. That is nuts. It has flash. So okay, imagine somebody being like, "Hey, I'm gonna do Demonic Tutor." That happens all the time, right? No, you're not. I am going to flash this in, and then I am going to literally gonna take your library, and I'm gonna look through it, and I'm gonna be like, I want this one, and then I'm gonna put it face down, and then at some point I'm gonna play that. That's so crazy powerful. Not to mention it's a creature, so it stays on the battlefield, and basically, at that point it would just prevent anybody from searching their library using a tutor until this thing is gone. So this is a big time removal magnet. But still, to be able to get even just one search from one of your opponents, that's really, really good. This is gonna be all over the place. It's gonna be gross. All right, so let's get into red here. So first up is Jeska, Thrice Reborn, and this is another planeswalker that can be your commander. It also has partner, just like Tevesh Sat. So it enters the battlefield with a loyalty counter on it for each time you've cast a commander from the command zone this game. So probably not that much, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to rack that tally up, right? But so let's look at the loyalty abilities. So 0, choose target creature until your next turn. If that creature would deal combat damage to one of your opponents, it deals triple that damage to that player instead. What? For 0. So by the way, it starts at 0. So let's say this is the first commander you cast. It's going to come in with 1 loyalty. But 1 loyalty for a 3-mana planeswalker, not very good. But the 0 makes a creature deal triple damage? And that's only, so it has to deal combat damage. If it deals damage to a creature, it's not going to deal triple damage. It has to be to a player. But still, like, that's nuts. If you can get that creature through, sorry, my cat needs to go outside. Hang on. Okay, just kidding. So if you can get that creature through, I mean, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Sorry, that was the Flex Seal. Flex Seal reference there. Hopefully you guys understood. But that's a lot of damage. And so, yeah, that seems really good for 0. And then the -X Jeska, the Thrice Reborn, deals X damage to each of up to 3 targets. That's going to be really difficult to get off for any significant amount of damage because, like we said, it's hard to rack up a tally on the number of commanders that you cast. Now, yes, it says partner, so it includes the other one that you cast, but still, I mean, what are you going to get a max 3 loyalty Jeska out of that? You know, doesn't seem like you're going to get this out for very much loyalty. It could be good with something like, for example, my Zakama deck. I cast Zakama a bunch of times. Like, I've had games where I've cast her like 6, 7, 8 times. So, I mean, maybe, but I don't think I'm going to take a card out of Zakama to play this card, you know. But still, you know, that 0 is really powerful, so that's something to think about, and it has partner, so. All right, so next up is Flamekin Herald. So this is a 3-mana, 3/2 elemental wizard. Commander spells you cast have Cascade. So good with Cascade commanders, because it adds an extra Cascade to that. Or if you're running partner commanders, then both of those partners are going to have Cascade. So I think it's playable. Yeah. Maybe not in like a, I don't know, like what's a normal deck that has red in it, like Niv Mizzet or something. I mean, it's not playable in that, definitely not. But if you're running partners, or if you're running a Cascade deck already, maybe you're running a partner Cascade deck. That's probably where this slots in for sure. I don't know, but yeah. Otherwise, it seems okay, I guess. Yeah. Next is Jeska's Will. So this is a 3-mana sorcery. And again, it's one that cares about whether or not you have your commander out. So choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, choose both. You may choose both. It's a may. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Add 1 red. So if they have 7 cards in their hand, add 7 red. All right. And then the second ability is exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So that's card draw, but only for the turn. Card draw. But imagine being able to do both of these. So let's say somebody has, okay, whatever, they have 6 cards in their hand. You add 6 red, and then you get 3 cards, and let's say 2 of those are spells that you can cast, and you can use that 6 mana to cast them. So this almost ends up being like a 3 mana cast 2 spells. I don't know. That seems pretty good. If you can get 6 mana out of it and cast 2 3-mana spells for 3 mana, I'm down for that. Now, maybe that's not super likely, but maybe it is. So this is one of those cards that has like a really high ceiling and then a really low floor. I mean, imagine if somebody has like they just went off with like a pull from tomorrow or something, and they have 20 cards in their hand, and then you cast this, 20 mana. Let's draw 3 cards. Let's cast all of them, So that's the ceiling, and the floor is this adds nothing to your mana pool, or this draws you 3 lands, So could be good, could suck, but I think it's worth considering in some decks. Aurora Phoenix. So this is a 6 mana Phoenix, 5/3 with flying, and it has Cascade. And then it says whenever you cast a spell with Cascade, return it from your graveyard to your hand. So, yeah, this is pretty good in Cascade decks. Imagine cascading into a Cascade spell with this. Actually, that doesn't work how I think it does. It has to be in the graveyard. But still, being able to, like, if this dies, or maybe you're sacrificing it or something, and then you get it back from a Cascade spell, and then you Cascade again. I feel like there are some shenanigans that can be done with this, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. So next is, this one's cool. Rograk, Son of Roga. So this is a 0 mana partner commander. It's a Kobold Warrior. It has First Strike, Menace, and Trample, but not Haste. That's it. It's just a 0/1 with First Strike, Menace, and Trample for 0 mana, and it can be your commander, and it's as partner. So this is really good probably for like equipment decks, Voltron decks. Yeah, this guy just comes out for nothing. Just put him out there, and then put some equipment on him, and just start swinging in. I mean, he doesn't really need haste, because if you can put him out on turn 1, you're not going to have any equipment to equip to him on turn 1, so what does it matter? Just wait till turn 2, throw some equipment down, get some damage in. This is going to be pretty fast, and, it's going to help out Voltron decks quite a bit. And actually, there are a few cards that we'll get into a little bit later. So, but yeah, I like this a lot. I just like that it's a 0 mana partner commander. That just seems really cool to me. So next is Kediss Emberclaw Familiar. So Kediss Emberclaw Familiar is a elemental lizard 1/1. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent, and then it has partner. So this is like a Saskia, but just for commanders, but it's at 2 mana, and it has partner. So that seems really good. Again, this is going to be great for Voltron decks. Now, the extra damage that Kediss deals to your other opponents isn't going to count as commander damage, but still, it's gonna make that commander dealing damage deal more damage, and that's always a good thing, right? So this is definitely something to think about if you're running an equipment, a Voltron style deck. Something to think about for sure. Next is Hellkite Courser. So this is a 6 mana dragon. It's a 6/5 with flying. And when Hellkite Courser enters the battlefield, you may put a commander you own from the command zone onto the battlefield. It gains haste, return it to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step. So this is pretty good also. I mean, just being able to slap down your commander and swing in with it right away when this enters the battlefield, plus it's a 6/5 with flying on its own, seems really good. I think the best place for this is in an Dragon deck, because it's a dragon itself, and then, you know, Dragon is what, like 9 mana or something crazy like that? So put this guy down, bring in the Dragon, he attacks, and you get to draw at least 1 card, if not more, and put down a free permanent. So this seems really, really good in that deck. And not to mention, you know, there are some other things like Atarka World Render, for example, Drakaseth Maw of Flames, if you're running that as your commander. So maybe Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight. So this can help out some of those big cost commanders that you kind of have a hard time getting out. It can really, really increase the power of your deck if you're able to get them out. Next is Emberwild Captain. So this is a 4/2 Djinn pirate. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. So it's one of those, you know, from that monarch cycle. Whenever an opponent attacks you while you're the monarch, Emberwild Captain deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. So again, this is one that gives you the monarchy, so it's giving red a little bit of help with card draw. And it's also going to deter your opponents from attacking into you and trying to steal the monarchy, because they're probably going to take a good amount of damage if they do. So yeah, I think this will see a little bit of play. It's probably not as powerful as red players would like, but it's something. All right, so next up is green. And again, we're going to touch on one of the cards from that monarchy cycle. And this one is Court of Bounty. And of course, green gets the best card from this cycle, right? Like, come on, Wizards. Green didn't need any help. We did not need any more reasons to play green. But here's one anyways. So when Court of Bounty enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you're the monarch, instead you may put a creature or land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, so green gets card draw, and green already has card draw. So, all right, there's that. Now it's 4 mana enchantment for the monarchy. Wouldn't be playable, but it is playable because at the beginning of your upkeep, if you're still the monarch, you get to put a free creature into play. If you're not the monarch, you still get to put a land into play. What the heck? Like, yeah, this is a good card. It's going to see play. I mean, green does have a lot of ways to do this, so I don't know how much play it's going to see, but it's still a good option. It's not a bad card by any means. It's really, really good. Next up is Kodama of the East Tree. This card is ridiculous. Did you guys read this one yet? It's stupid. It's a 6 mana legendary creature. It's a spirit. It's a 6/6 with reach. So already it's not bad. I mean, you wouldn't play a 6/6 with reach for 6. But it has this ability that says, whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. What? Okay. So let's say I have this out, and I cast Wood Elves. Wood Elves enters the battlefield, and I get to put a permanent card with equal or lesser mana cost from my hand onto the battlefield. That can be a land, by the way. So let's say, I don't know, I have a mana dork or something. So I put a Llanowar Elves out onto the battlefield, and then I get, obviously, my card from Wood Elves. I get my Forest, so I put that onto the battlefield, and then it triggers again, and I get to put a land from my hand onto the battlefield, or something with 0 converted mana costs. So, well, not that that would matter, but a land. So geez, this is insane. There are so many ways to abuse this, but particularly with landfall, this could be pretty good. Just getting lands into play, or I mean, free permanence. This is always really really powerful. So yeah, this card is nuts. I mean, not to mention the synergy it has with things like Panharmonicon and Conjurer's Closet. Also, you know, Deadeye Navigator, all the normal ETB stuff. So you're probably going to see this card more than you want to. With that being said, this is something that's also right up my alley, so I love it. I really do. I'm not going to lie. Oh, and also this card has Partner. What the hell? I mean, that's nuts. So, yeah, partner this with something. I don't know what you're going to partner this with. There are too many combinations now to even start considering that, at least for me, my brain. But this card is nuts. This is insane. All right, so this card. So this is Apex Devastator. This is pretty cool. So 10 mana, 2 green, 8 other. It's a creature, it's a Chimera Hydra. That's pretty awesome. And then it has Cascade, 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 Cascade. 4 Cascades. And it's a 10/10. So yeah, cast this, get 4 free spells that cost 9 or less. That's nuts. That is insane value. Yeah, it's 10 mana, but can you imagine casting this? I mean, okay, this isn't the most creative card ever, but it just seems like a lot of fun to cast, doesn't it? I mean, just imagine, right? Just think about it. And then just cascade, 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 cascade. It just seems so cool to me. I don't know. I might be the only one, but I like this card a lot. So I think it'll see a fair amount of play. I don't think it's too powerful by any means. 10 mana after all, but yeah, pretty cool. All right, so next is Galanra, Caller of Wirewood. This is another partner commander. It's another green partner commander. 3 mana, 1/2. It's an elf druid. Tap it, add 1 green, and then when you spend this mana to cast a spell with converted mana cost 6 or greater, draw a card. So this is guaranteed ramp in your command zone. I don't know of anything else that exists like that. I could be wrong, and if so, remind me in the comments, but I think this is unique in that sense, and it also has built-in card draw too. Now, yeah, it has to be a converted mana cost 6 or greater, but still, I think this is definitely playable. Not to mention it has partner, so you can pair it up with whatever you want to that has partner, and I'm sure this will make for a pretty good deck. All right, so now we have the colorless cards. First is Commander's Plate. This is another one of those cards that's going to help Voltron decks a little bit. So it's a 1-cost artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. So this is going to be better with... Oh, and then, sorry, the equipped commander is 3. So if it's a commander you're equipping, it's 3 mana. If not, it's 5. So, 5 is too much, but 3, not bad. It's gonna be good for cards, or I should say decks that run 1 or 2 colors. The more colors, obviously, that you have, the worse this gets. So, still, I think you could see play definitely in maybe like a SRAM, definitely a SRAM deck, or like Boros equipment builds. Probably won't see all that much play, but it's definitely going to get consideration in those types of decks. Yeah, here it is. We all knew this was coming, right? This card is stupid. Jeweled Lotus. It's a 0-cost artifact. Sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast your commander. So, obviously, this is the chase mythic in the set. Wizards always does this. They want to have one card where, you're going to open boxes and boxes and boxes just to get this card. That would be foolish. Don't do that. You could just buy it. But right now I think it's going for like over $200. So don't buy it right now. Wait until the price goes down, because it will. But yeah, this is insanely powerful. They're basically adding just another like Mana Crypt Soul Ring type, almost auto-include artifact to our format, which probably isn't healthy for the format, in all honesty. At the same time, though, I'm not going to be upset if I pull this. Like, you guys know I'm going to be doing a box opening with this set, if not more than one. And if I pull this, I'm going to be ecstatic. So, yeah, I'm mad, but I'm not mad. Like, imagining getting, like, a turn 2 Chulane or, a turn 2 Lord Windgrace, something crazy like that. It's like, yeah, of course I want that to happen. I want to win games. But at the same time, it doesn't make for very interesting gameplay. So I wish this card wasn't reprinted, but also, or wasn't reprinted, wasn't printed in the first place, but also I'm excited to potentially pull it. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on this. Whatever. And then I want to cover this one land here. So this is War Room. And this is, I don't think this is seeing enough attention. So this is a colorless land, and then it says pay 3, tap it, pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity, draw a card. So this is an auto-include in any colorless deck. Absolutely. Right away, put that in there. This is the cheapest card draw on a land that I've ever seen, without any other drawbacks like Bazaar of Baghdad or whatever. And I think this is even playable in 1 or 2 color decks too. Just extra card draw, especially in like mono white or Boros decks that have a hard time drawing cards. I think this should probably go in there too. So I think this is going to see a lot more play than people realize. I don't know. I just haven't heard anyone talking about this card, and I like it a lot. So there's that. All right, so let's get into the multicolored cards. I think just about all of these are commander cards. So the first is Obeka, Brute Chronologist. So this is a Grixis commander, so 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, and 1 other. Total of 4 for a 3/4 Ogre Wizard. Tap it. The player whose turn it is may end the turn. So, yeah, that's a really interesting ability that we've never seen on a commander, that's for sure. Good cards with this are like Chance for Glory, Final Fortune. Those cards where you take an extra turn, but there's a huge drawback on the other end of it, like you lose the game or whatever. Basically, so yeah, take a cheap extra turn with Final Fortune, and then end that second turn after you're done doing what you need to do, and you don't lose the game. There's a bunch of different things like Sneak Attack. You can mess with that and get a big creature out and not have to sacrifice it. There's a bunch of different things you can do with that. It also adds an interesting element to the game in terms of politics, where let's say somebody's saving their mana for like a big pull from tomorrow on their opponent's end step or something. If they cast that for like X is 20, you could just be like, hey, do you want to end the turn? And they'll be like, heck yeah. And then they don't get to draw their cards. That may not happen a lot. They would have to play into an untapped Obeka, which is stupid, right? But I could see me doing that even, so it could happen. Next is Archelos, Lagoon Mystic. So this is a 1 black, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 other. So 4 total, 2/4 legendary turtle shaman. I always mess that up. I don't know which one it is. As long as he is tapped, other permanents enter the battlefield tapped. As long as he's untapped, other permanents enter the battlefield untapped. So this is one of those things where you're going to want to like rig it so that it's untapped on your turn and then tapped on all of your opponent's turns. And then you can run a bunch of fancy tap lands or, whatever you want to do. They'll enter untapped, and then on your opponent's turn, you tap it sideways with like a Freed from the Reel or something, and they get screwed over. So it seems like an interesting build around. Probably not all that powerful, but it seems fun. Next is Amareth the Lustrous. So this is a 6 mana 1 green, 1 white, 1 blue, 3 other, dragon, 6/6 with flying. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it shares a card type with that permanent, you may reveal that card and put it into your hand. So basically you're going to want to run like all creatures, or well, not all creatures, but almost all creatures, or primarily artifacts. Artifacts is probably the best way to go with this. It kind of reminds me of Chulane, where it's like you're getting an ability off of something entering the battlefield. So I mean, just casting 0 cost artifacts and then drawing artifacts off the top of your library could be pretty good. It's not as good as like a Chulane or something like that. It's definitely a watered down version of that. But I mean, if you're looking to build like a, power level 6 or 7 Bant commander as opposed to a power level 8 or 9 Bant commander, then I think this is a good option. So next is Zara, Renegade Recruiter. This card is really neat. So this is a 5 mana legendary human pirate. It's a 4/3 with flying. It says, whenever it attacks, look at defending player's hand, and you may put a creature card from it onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. Return that creature to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. This is really, really fun. So swing in with her. I love that she has flying, because then she can get over most blockers. And then you're just going to be like, hey, can I see your hand? Let me see what you have. And then you just put a creature into play from their hand. Like if they're sitting on an Ulamog or something, they just get absolutely torn to shreds. That seems really fun. Now, I mean, you might whiff on that too, right? But the possibilities are endless. Not endless, but you get what I'm saying. That's fun. Just stealing creatures. I mean, it's going to make people real salty, though. The other cool thing with this is you could have like a Sundial of the Infinite, those type effects where you can just end the turn and you don't have to give that creature back. At that point, you get to keep it because it says you have to do it at the end step. Well, guess what? We're skipping the end step by ending the turn. So now that creature's mine. Seems really, really cool. Next is Yearlock of Scorch Thrash. So Mana Burn is back with this commander. If you have this as commander, basically everybody has Mana Burn. So it's a 1 black, 1 red, 1 green, 1 other, 4/4 with vigilance. A player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life, which is exactly what Mana Burn is. And then, well, I think anyways. I don't know. I didn't used to play back then. But then you pay 1 and tap it. Each player adds 1 black, 1 red, 1 green. So you're going to want to, generally you're going to want to activate that at somebody's end step so that it's less likely that somebody would be able to actually use that mana. But it also, again, adds an element of politics too, where it's like, hey, I can get rid of that thing that player just put down, but I need the mana to do it. And then you can be like, okay, here you go. So that's interesting too. But yeah, I'm sure there's tons of shenanigans that you can do with this to get people to add mana that they don't need to their mana pool and then just deal a bunch of damage to them. I don't really know off top, but it seems, again, like a really, really fun commander to build around. Next is Aralmi of the Dead Tide. So this is a 3 mana legendary merfolk wizard, and it's a 1/4. Tap it, exile cards from your graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have. Target creature card in your graveyard gains Encore until end of turn. That's a new ability. And the Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. So 3 mana, it's a relatively cheap commander. What Encore does is you exile a creature from your graveyard. And in this case, you have to pay its mana cost. Sometimes it's a different cost, but in this case, it's equal to the mana cost. And for each opponent, you create a token that's a copy of that creature that attacks each opponent. And, oh, it attacks each opponent if able. Sorry, I'm reading it as we go. And they gain haste, so they can attack that turn. So basically, you exile that card. It creates a token that's a copy of that creature for each opponent you have, and it attacks each of those opponents on that turn. and then you sacrifice them at the end step. You can only do that as a sorcery, though. So this is really, really good. What you're going to have to do is, it's a self-mill commander, so that's going to be the tricky part of it, is getting enough cards into your graveyard to where you can afford exiling 3 cards on each activation, and then also having a good creature to get with Encore. That's the other thing too, is if you're using, like, if you're exiling big creatures, you have to pay the mana cost still too. So, you know, if you're trying to get out like a Geralf's Mind Crusher or something, I don't know, just something I came up that you're gonna have to pay the 6 mana. So, yeah, I think this is something that's interesting to build around. It's good with like ETB effects, attack triggers, but again, you're gonna have to find ways to mill yourself enough to where you can afford exiling cards from your graveyard every turn. And next is Emoti, or this is actually the last card we're going to go over today, Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty. So this is a 5 mana legendary creature. It's a Naga Druid. It's a 3/1 and it has Cascade. And then it also says spells you cast with converted mana cost 6 or greater have Cascade. So this is pretty good, I think. I love the fact that it has Cascade itself. The tricky thing with this is finding a balance between putting in, because you're going to want to have plenty of cards that are CMC 6 or greater, but at the same time, you need to also have cards that are less than that in order for them to actually cascade into something. So it's gonna be a tricky balance of finding how many 6 or more mana cards you put in and how many 1 through 5 mana or 0 through 5 mana cards you put in. So, but still, I think it could be a decent commander to build around. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed my my take on what I think are going to be the best cards in Commander. If you disagree with me or you think there should have been something else in the list, certainly let me know in the comments. I always like to have discussions about this, especially when new sets come out. So let me know. And thanks for watching. As always, stay safe out there. Thanks for getting your fix with me today. Peace out, guys.